Last show of the tour, last ferry walk through. The Kulturitalo in Helsinki. Usual, except I've got a hired camper and a hired PRS, which is lovely. They changed my Strat because it was choking a bit at the dusty end, and most of this gig takes place at the dusty end. Nice venue. I think a visit to the Moomin shop is imminent, so I'll make this fairly quick. This will be where Sally does her merch stall, I would imagine. The bar, see what the beers are. There's this very weird beer here that has gin in it. I will not be trying that. Oh, Fabio, we love you. He quite rightly ignored me, and who can blame him? The hire company here have been brilliant. The crew said they got it set up faster than anybody else ever. They've changed anything that needs changing without demur. Lift down to the dressing room, slightly unusual configuration. There's probably stairs, but I'm not going to be using them. They might even be behind these PA caps. A lift. Portrait of the artist as person in a lift. Isn't it funny you don't talk to people in lifts, so I probably shouldn't even talk to myself, should I? Is that Kay? Really? Is that Kay? I don't think I'm in the right place. I think I'm officially lost. Pretty sure I'm lost. Phew. Getting lost, disaster averted. Hello everybody.
Which way are you filming?
Your way.
Yes. For that guy coming, he calls me and in through the stage door, right?
This was the blind.
Yeah, I don't know if that is. Did you come this way?
No.
Yeah, I don't know how to come this way anyway, but
Okay.
yeah, you've got to go in there. Yeah. He just gives you a call.
Have you got a masseuse
I haven't told him yet actually.
You someone to come and do your nails?
Yeah. Look at that. Look at that.
Do you need that for the guitar?
Of course.
Okay, I was going to say.
Look, we all
Let
have
me see the
them.
other hand.
No, but that's too long.
We all have them. I have them at
But
both
you-
hands.
You don't
Rank,
need it on
guys.
that other
That's
hand.
just for my personal pleasure.
You need to cut this one.
That is rank. Let me see your other hand.
Rank?
Let me see the other hand.
The other one is.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
Rank?
No, you need to.
Sorry
cut
to
that
say,
thing.
my wife agrees with you on that one.
Do you have
How
a
about that
nail
one?
clipper? But you've got long nails as well.
Yeah, Days.
I'm a girl.
I've never been able to have long nails.
That's a little bit sexist to suggest then that we can't have long nails because we're boys.
No,
Are
it's
you
not.
filming all of this?
Yes.
Oh.
Okay. Rank.
Good job you haven't
Maybe
got a
Jay is
list.
a pedo. Max said that you were a pedo for going to the Moomin shop.
I said that you would look like a pedo inside a women's shop.
I'm going to empty
Said
that
you were.
entire bowl of whipped cream over your lovely cable knit jumper.
Try it, and it's your last day on earth.
I discovered Max's weak spot earlier. I threatened to flick some cream on him. He recoiled in horror. Right. Are we mooming? Is that a verb to moom in?
I think we're waiting for.
That's the driver.
You looked at that?
Okay, always like to start the day with an impressive erection. There we are. Some kind of church thing. As you know, I don't do churches. Right, we're in Helsinki. Going down to the big cathedral in the main square, and it's basically this street all the way down. So, last night's gig in Turku was okay. 700 sold out of a 1,000-seater venue. Interesting venue. It was in a big old locomotive shed converted to be a venue, and the bit we were in, apparently the back wall could be moved, so the back wall and all the seating could be slid back to make a bigger arena. And the gig was okay. They took a while to get going, but were very appreciative by the end. And then we had a 2-hour bus ride here to Helsinki to check into a hotel which has probably the worst rooms of the entire tour, which will be the subject of a separate chapter in this episode. And now it's walkers time before going to the venue. We've got the same hire equipment today as we had yesterday. The guitars were okay, the PRS was particularly nice. I do miss the mid boost on the Strat though. The Strat was okay, needs a bit of work today. The Kemper was a powered rack Kemper rather than my usual unpowered profiler head, and through several wobblers when I tried to load in my backup with all my sounds in it. But thanks to the wonderful Hans-Jörg Schaefer at Kemper, he talked me through the process of reinitializing the flash RAM, and the thing loaded and was fine. Good sounding room. So we'll see what we've got tonight. We're in the Kulturhalle. I'll probably take a tram back to maximise my leisure time. Bus is at 12:30, I'm given to understand. This is a strange city, it's very weird. A mixture of architecture, and there's a common thing here where these sort of, it's hard to tell what is a shop and what isn't, because the ground floors of a lot of these buildings have shops on the ground floor, but they're not over advertised. I don't know, it's something I can't put my finger on about these two towns in Finland that I've been to. Not quite sure what it is. The city doesn't reveal itself to you in the way that cities normally do. So Just have a one. Oh, a lovely blast of warm air just coming out of the subway there. Oh, dear, very welcome. It's cold here. Once, something like that. So navigation is easy. All I've got to do is keep straight down this road without getting run over by a tram or a taxi or a truck. Well, I'm 66 years old. I've managed to do it all that time, but maybe I'll turn the camera off and just concentrate for a little while. Okay, so 2 impressive erections in one morning. Haven't even had my second cup of coffee yet. This is what's commonly known as a cathedral. You know my opinions on cathedrals. They're basically a form of bullying, but it is nonetheless impressive. I don't know what that little outhouse is. Maybe it's the outhouse, maybe that's the toilet. Certain amount of restoration work going on there on the north facade. Statues of the great and the good on their plinths. No statues commemorating the workers who undoubtedly were maimed or killed during the building of this thing. Those of you who like railing against health and safety and how lunatic it is might care to transport yourselves back to medieval times and do a day's work as a stonemason, and then see what you think about health and safety legislation. Right, I'm going to head down the hill and see if I can find somewhere to have a coffee. I won't have a bun because I already had croissant for breakfast. I've come to self-discipline somewhat late in life, but it was inevitable. And we have somewhat inevitably and without any conscious effort on my part ended up at the harbour. And this boat here claims to sell food and drinks and has a sign saying we are open. I'm not going to attempt to make it across the ice through that gap. I'm going to walk around the side and see if I can get a cup of coffee there. I would put money on it that that building ahead was an old fish market of some kind for old fish. There's a shop over there called Loved Bags. So many possible punchlines, none of which I'm going to attempt. But if these guys are doing a nice cup of coffee, I'll go on this old boat. Dining room Sue Ellen. How bizarre. I presume that's not the Sue Ellen of 80s TV sitcom Dallas fame, but then you never know. American culture makes its way into the strangest places in the strangest of ways. This is the Katharina, a fine old three-masted sailing ship. Built out of timber and still going strong. Wood is the most extraordinary substance, I think. Oh, whoops, that was close. Nearly slipped. Right, let's see what we've got. That's what we've got. Ship closed. That's a blow. Well, I want a cup of coffee. The harbour's completely iced up still. One of the ladies of the orchestra is undoubtedly down here. There's like a sea bathing and sauna place. I wouldn't fancy the sea bathing, frankly. Oh, seems like we can go in there. In that case, let's go in there. Worst case scenario, we go over to that somewhat bland looking place. That's the second time I've nearly slipped. I should have brought my new Timberland boots with me, but I didn't fancy breaking them in on long yonks here. Okay, in the interest of privacy, let's turn the camera off before we enter. There's some recipes to try next time I go herring fishing. Blackcurrant herring, juniper herring, glass masters herring, whatever that might be. Well, it's a shame we're getting lunch at the venue today. Seaweed caviar. Wow. Fried vendas. We don't know what vendas is. Smoked salmon fins. On lamprey. Blimey. Extraordinary. Great little food hall here. Coffee, but I did not have any of the shiny precious things that I was so wanting. Just a delight. Virtue signal alert. I didn't eat any of those. Arctic police. Air dried moose. Reindeer fillet. The cheese frenzy. Reindeer kebab. Reindeer spring roll. Reindeer meatballs. There's a theme emerging here. Halva. Reindeer with French fries, reindeer pita. More shiny precious things. Baklava.
Not seriously, but you know, like fluid cold from underestimating, because you sit in there and the sun is shining on the sun is here, and then 20 minutes later.
So the girl at the coffee desk told me that this was indeed a market. There's been a market of various kinds over the years. They obviously gave it a good scrub and washed the smell of fish out of it. Let's see what other strange delights there are down here. Who would have thought it? Cafe Brutal. a little group of coffee, is there? Grilled cheese sandwiches. Oh, you can spend a day in this place and get your 3 square meals. Wonderful. Cold smoked reindeer, elk salami, reindeer salami, air dried reindeer, minced cold smoked reindeer. Get out this side? Probably not. Yes, we can. Right, I'm going to do up my dry robe. I am that wanker in the dry robe, though I'm very, very glad of it here. It's cold, and we'll go wandering. And for those that know a pilgrimage, hi. I wanted to talk a little bit about the approach that I've taken to playing Tubular Bells, Robin Smith's reimagined version for the 50th anniversary shows. And full disclosure, I'm not in Helsinki, I'm at home in my studio in North Essex. I feel like I should be walking down a street somewhere, but I'm not. So it's probably just as best for sound quality and picture quality that I'm sitting here in a controlled environment. So Rob first approached me to do this in 2020, I think was when he first mentioned it, and the first performances were in 2021 in the Festival Hall in London. And we did 10 shows, which the result of which you can see on a documentary that's on Amazon Prime, together with some concert footage, which sadly suffered from some very poor editing. I had no control over that, I'm afraid. Nice cup of tea. So we did 10 shows there, and then we did something like 32 shows in January and February of 2023 around the UK. We then did about 14 or 15 more in the UK in October 2023. In January 2024, we did a one-off show of it in Dubai. And we've just finished basically a month. I think we did 20 gigs around Europe. And Rob's brief for this, for me, was to be the presence of the guitarist on the stage. Okay. That's an interesting thing to suggest. I think what he was after was the energy and the focus. Because obviously Mike's not involved in the shows because he's retired. This led to something of a challenging situation because for all of the gigs we've been doing, it's been quite commonplace for people to come up to me at the end of the show and say, Mike, I've been listening to your music for 40 years. I finally got to see you. It's a dilemma, particularly when they say, oh, you know, I've come from Croatia. My son bought me this ticket as a 70th birthday present. And I'm weeping copiously with joy, hopefully. So that's a bit of a dilemma for me. I started by saying, you know, I'm not Mike, don't you? But then realised that it's probably best not to shatter people's dreams. So I don't sign the autographs, Mike. That's my way of coping with it. Anyway, that's a distraction. So Rob's brief was be the presence of the guitarist on stage. Oh, and by the way, you've got to play it as well. Mercifully, the brief is not to play it note for note like the record, which is great. And during the partly because I'm not even capable of doing that. My way of playing is that I play what comes into my head at any given time while listening to what's going on around me and reacting to it. I was delighted when I started researching this. I watched hours of YouTube videos of Mike playing it. I was delighted to see that Mike never played it like the record. He improvised around the main structures, adding harmony lines and using different instruments to play some of the melodies from what was used on the record. In the case of one particular section, the ambient guitars section at the end of side 2 of Tubular Bells, he never even attempted to play it live, actually composing a different section to replace it. So this immediately dealt with the thorny issue of Uber fans coming up to me after the show and saying, "You didn't play it like the record." No, I didn't. Neither did Mike. And I know there's a lot of Oldfield so-called tribute act guitarists who do the note-for-note thing, and I have unbounded respect for their dedication and talent. But for me to attempt such a thing would, in my opinion, be fundamentally dishonest. It seems to me that in order to recreate Mike's performance, it wouldn't be enough just to use the same equipment and play the exact same notes in the same way physically. That's the easy bit. In order to truly emulate Mike, I would have to have lived the same life as him and experienced the same pain, the same joy, the same anger and tenderness as him, which is of course impossible. All I can do, however, is to play his music informed by my own pain, my own joy, my own anger and my own tenderness, which is much more honest and more authentic than attempting to copy the uncopyable. It's also my firm belief that a piece of music is like a living entity, and the only time a living entity stops changing is when it dies. So by trying to preserve a piece of music in some perceived perfect version, you are in effect killing it and condemning it to the same fate as much of classical music. It's become fossilized, ossified, decaying into obscurity because nobody dares to play it differently. You have to play it according to what the composer wrote. No, you have to play it according to what the composer meant, and those are not necessarily the same things. There are, however, significant challenges in playing Mike's music. One of which is that on a lot of the Tubular Bells 1 album, there's a lot of guitars that he refers to as double speed guitars, which were recorded by slowing the tape down to half speed and then playing up the top end of the guitar quite fast. So when you brought the tape back up to normal speed, you would have the sound an octave higher than the guitar can go and blisteringly fast. We have pitch shifters to enable us to get up the extra octave, and in terms of playing very fast, practice. However, the first thing I have to play on Tubular Bells is this. Which is a double speed guitar. And I had serious problems with this particular melodic line. When we did the Festival Hall, I was only a year into recovery from a thankfully very mild stroke, and I could not for the life of me figure out how to play this line. It was like trying to parse a sentence where I knew all the words, but I couldn't join them together in a way that made any sense. I finally cracked it about a year after those shows when I realised that whereas the whole of the intro to Tubular Bells is done as a bar of 7 and a bar of 8, that phrase starts, he counts it as a bar of 8, and then the next bar is a bar of 7. And as soon as I got that, bang, I could play it. But it took me a while. So that runs into the next thing, which is there's things that you have to play. There are things that are structural that you have to play, like this next melody. You kind of have to play those things. And that leads into... And then there's this beautiful melody. And I take a leaf out of Mike's book for this, and I would play the first iteration of it as written, and then I would play a harmony. Because it gives it an extra lift, I think. And my approach throughout has been to play the material structurally where it needs to be, and when it needs to be exact, I play it exactly. But there are other bits where I can play fills and interjections and bring my own character to it. And God bless him, Robin gave me the freedom to do this. So apologies to any Uber fans who think it's heresy when, for example, in the A minor tune, I go... But hey, it's my gig. I'll play what I want. I even found myself adding little bits of addition to the blues bit. If I sit up straight, I'll play it. Doesn't do that bad. I must at this point say a big thank you to my, I believe, desk buddy is the term the young folk use, Maxime Ragido Obadiah, who played guitar. He did all the heavy lifting and played all the classical, nylon, acoustic, electric, mandolin, while I just swanned about on electric. And he was completely unfazed by my occasional off-piste excursions and just played his gig. Brilliant. It's a great pleasure working with you, Maxie boy. Good job, mate. Well done. And also a massive thank you to the audiences who came to see us. It's been a huge pleasure watching the joy on your faces as we play a piece of music that obviously means so much to you and takes you back to special times in your lives. I'm kind of used to people crying when I play, but there's been a lot of it on this tour, and there's been tears of joy, I'm happy to say. Thank you very much for coming. We really appreciate it. And we hope to see you again. And I must also say a huge thank you to all my other fellow musicians on the stage who also tolerated my off-piste excursions, even when I stood in front of them, masking their view from, masking their even when I stood in front of them, masking the audience's view of them. It's been a joy to play with you all. I've learned a lot from the approach that most of you take. For the listeners, most of the other members of the band come from an orchestral background, which is the exact opposite of what I've grown up doing. And it was a joy. Thank you very much. And a big thank you to the technical crew, Sam, front Sam and back Sam on front of house and monitors, Abby, who did the impossible job of tour managing such a disparate group, Tom Price and Fabio, who were our guitar techs, and anybody else that was involved. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. We've had a really good tour. It's been really good fun, apart from the bus. And we'll be back out soon. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.